movie that cranked it up. And we got our sharks and all of our speakers are here.
Everybody, then we're okay.
Everybody that the movie needs is here somewhere.
Perfect.
At a point where I can play an announcement for people to take their seats.
We're going to wait probably the tall library gentleman right in front of the screen.
Yeah.
Either him or Chris.
Thank you so much. We'll get started in just 1 minute. Good evening and welcome. Do you ever notice that where a journey begins is almost never where it ends? The first time that I set foot on this campus as a freshman, I never would have imagined what would have transpired. I was a student at the Meadows School of the Arts here, and I had no idea that one day I would become the U.S. National Elevator Pitch Champion. Thank you very much. Thank you. It has been an amazing journey for me, a journey that has allowed me to coach clients of mine onto television shows like Shark Tank here in the United States, Dragon's Den in Canada, and even Shark Tank Australia. Last year at the South by Southwest pitch competition, I coached 4 teams, came away with 4 first-place finishes, including Best in Show. And then just for grins and giggles, I coached the team that won the Rice Business Plan competition in Houston, which is the largest and most lucrative pitch competition of its kind in the world. Thank you. And I want to say, as we begin our journey tonight, that I am deeply grateful for all the things that have happened to me, including my association with this organization. Because where we start is not where we end. And you are going to hear from some individuals this evening who have overcome some amazing circumstances, difficulties, and they will be sharing their stories with you later tonight. I'll be introducing some sharks. We'll get them up here. We'll hear some stories. And it's a chance for us to come together as fellow travelers on this journey. A fellow traveler who I admire, who has inspired me greatly, sitting right here. His name's Mike Humphrey, and I want to just introduce him briefly to you. You know, like a lot of you here tonight, Mike has made his living in venture capital, and working with money. He's been tremendously successful. But what you may or may not know is that his life was touched and transformed when his brother went to prison. And from this place of transformation, came a dedication to PEP from its inception and now as acting president and CEO of PEP. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage my friend, my inspiration,
Thank you, Chris. I don't have one of those fancy microphones, so I'm going to have to talk here. This is amazing. And when I just look around, I'm reminded that this journey of PEP that begins on the inside and moves to the outside, and the formation of Entre Capital, and all the things that we do to grow businesses with our men and enrich our community. It started here 5 years ago, right, Steve Hausman? Yeah. And so we're going to celebrate that tonight. And I was visiting with our CFO, Tim Hamilton. Some of you know him. And if there's ever a man that keeps the railroad running on time, it's our friend Tim Hamilton. And so his instruction was, Mike, you know, Chris is the national elevator pitch champion. He's going to kick this off. You're going to find out tonight, Chris is magnificent. Okay? But when you follow him, one of the pillars of PEP is we begin and end every meeting in a prayer. And you need to pray in, because if people haven't started their salad, when you pray in, that's a signal for them to eat their salad. I said, Tim, I got it. And so with that little bit of levity, if you'll join me, I want to pray in this meeting and invite the Spirit of God to meet with us right here. And I'm going to pray the Word of God, which I sense has a real power tonight, from the book of Isaiah 64. Lord, we pray that you would rend the heavens, that you would come down, and that the mountains might shake at your presence. We pray that every mountain and stronghold is broken. In the mighty name of Jesus, and we pray that your kingdom come. Tonight, in this room, in Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Enjoy your salad. I'm going to talk for just 2-3 minutes, and then you're going to get a break. To set the table a little bit. You know, when I look around the room, I see a lot of old friends, and my heart beats faster. I see a lot of new friends, and my heart beats the same. And so one of the things we're celebrating tonight is 20 years of being on mission. And so if we had to summarize that quickly for PEP, what does it mean to be on mission? The way we like to describe it, it means three things. You know, one of the first is transforming lives. The second is rebuilding communities. And the third is restoring families. This is the mission that we're called to. These are significant, non-trivial things. And I believe as our program unfolds tonight, and you see where iron is sharpening iron in Shark Tank, where you have men rising into this next stage of their life and presenting their business, and the iron sharpens iron with our sharks, you're going to see transformed lives. You're going to see restored families. You're going to see the pillars of a new community in the most unlikely place, which we believe is kingdom. So let me set the table with that, and then say a second thing. Part of what we celebrate on our 20th anniversary is fruit. We have almost 4,000 graduates now, and only 8% have been back to prison. And I've recently learned that when someone has been incarcerated, there's a more than 60% chance that their children will go to prison. But as best we know, out of these almost 4,000 graduates, there's only one child that has been back to prison. So when our prayer is to break the stronghold, it is intentionally aimed at that. So let me shift and say, as much as we value that, part of what we're going to be celebrating tonight is something that our sense is higher than that. You know, a lot of our society would call it human flourishing. You know, we call it kingdom. And so, what we celebrate tonight on our 20th anniversary is for more than 10 years now. Within 90 days, 100% of our guys are employed. Okay? And I'll add to it that the average time of first employment is 24 days. And so, in a time when there is a flourishing that has been released. But that's not all. Because when the guys experience, and you'll meet some guys that here have their 10,000 hours, and they have their family issues solved, and there's a foundation built that forms businesses. In PEP, there are now over 600 small businesses that have been formed. That's just a crazy number, but what we're going to celebrate tonight is the next several hundred. And so there is fruit. And so let me shift to the last piece. And I want to share the ethos, the belief, the confidence that is stewarded by the board of this organization that we'll recognize later, but it's simply this. We believe that the gospel of the kingdom is true. We believe that when it is faithfully proclaimed, it releases human flourishing. And we believe that that's so powerful that we can radically share it to people of faith and people that are one day going to come to faith, whether inmates or executives. And that ethos is part of very more than we are. When you look at results, you say, to God be the glory. This is the result of the gospel. So let me deposit that. That's going to kind of give us a little momentum and runway for the night. Let me tell you what's ahead. Our friend because 5 years ago we met in this place whose reputation is about compassionate conservative. I believe that's who we are. And we're going to give an update on, we boldly thought of a piece of things that the former Monterey Capital 5 years ago. Well, what happened to that? And we're going to hear from some of our graduates 5 years later what is possible in this work as we come alongside them in community and build their business. And I think you're going to be inspired by that. And so, at the very end, we're going to talk about where that leads us, impactful growth. We think 20 years later, we're right at the very beginning. We think this is like 5 times more. And so you're going to hear about that. And so stick around. Don't leave early. Stay for dessert. You won't want to miss that. Okay? And so we're going to adjourn for like 20 minutes so you can enjoy the table conversation. But as we do, we're going to hear from a special friend of PEP for years, Senator Gordon, who has sent us a video of his good wishes for this 20th anniversary. And he's been a good friend of PEP. And so I don't know who in the back is going to play this, but Tim, why don't you guys play that? Enjoy your meal. We'll be back to you in about 20 minutes. Thank you.
I want to congratulate the Prison Entrepreneurship Program on 20 years of transforming lives, restoring families, and rebuilding communities. Over the last 2 decades, PEP has helped thousands of individuals get back on their feet and build the skills they need to re-enter the workforce. A number of years ago, I met with PEP graduates who had gone on to start their own companies. Their experiences highlighted the importance of taking the smart on crime approach to our criminal justice system. Nearly 80,000 Texans are released from prison each year, and I'm working to introduce legislation that would help these men and women find and hold new jobs. Thank you for all you do to reduce recidivism and touch the lives of Texas families. Your work will impact the Lone Star State for years to come, and I hope you enjoy tonight's celebration.
Ya no me acuerdo. Nice. PEP's 20th anniversary is coming up, and they've changed the lives of, I think, by contact and just the waves that they have put into the community. They've changed millions of lives at this point. They're an incredible program. They genuinely help every man, or at least try to, every man that comes to them. The volunteers get immense loads out of it. The families of the men going through the program get immense benefits out of it. It's an incredible program, and I know for a fact it's going to be around for at least another 20 years, if not 120.
Hi, my name is Leah. I am the second class of PEP, the female class. The things that I learned from PEP, a lot about driving values, I instilled in my life, and they've helped me establish my business. And what I want to say is happy anniversary to PEP.
The most impactful thing to me was getting to know some of the guys very, very well. We'd come once a month for almost a 12-month period. So you got to know certain individuals more so than others. The impact opportunity now is similar to the way it was a long time ago, where you didn't dare miss any PEP event because you would really feel.
Hi guys, my name is Luis Chavez, aka Taco Bell Chihuahua, your kiddo PEP, and I just want to say that I'm really grateful for our PEP, and just grateful for what they've been doing and where this program took me. Right, I'm from class fall 20, and man, when I barely started PEP, I didn't even speak English, you know, and this gave me a lot. This gave me a lot of knowledge, and a lot of friendship, and a lot of hope for whatever is going to come in my future. And it's just, I just appreciate this. I appreciate all my brothers. I appreciate what PEP has done for me. Thank you.
So my name is Steve Martinez, and I'm a graduate of class 11. I've been involved with PEP since 2008. So it's been a really long time that I've been with PEP. It's interesting, right? The evolution of my participation with PEP is that I started off as class 9. Then I was let go and returned back in class 9 for the sole reason that the program and couldn't convince me to go to my hometown. Can we start that over again?
Wayne Wisniewski. I've been a volunteer since 2007, and my first association with PEP was dropping my wife off at the Hamilton unit for an job interview. She started working for PEP at that time, and I remember dropping her off at the entrance to the Hamilton unit, and there was a big sign that said, "We do not do anything for hostages." I said, "Are you sure you want to go in?" She said, "Yes." So anyway, she's been with PEP since then, and I have volunteered since then as well.
Go.
Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Chris Morrow, aka Scarecrow. If I only had a brain. Hey, I'm been out since 2015. February 2nd, 2015 is whenever I was released from PEP and also from TDC. Since that time, I've been a part of PEP for, I'd say, about half that time, and then life got in the way. But I'm so glad to be back.
How many? Actually, there were a few other people involved, as I recall. Many in the room tonight. There's something about PEP. I would sum it up in one word: transformation. That's a lot more than just a word, PEP. That's exactly what happens. That's what happens when the men and women in this room who have become volunteers and become engaged in the program experience. Every one of them will tell you
that when they came, they thought they had something to offer. And they did. But what they realized when they walked out, they were the ones that left being transformed. So were the men. Trust me, that's what happens. What's transformation? We know what transformation is. It's what happens between people when the Holy Spirit moves. And the Holy Spirit moves in this program like nothing you've ever seen. I have the honor tonight to introduce to you an individual who's been part of that experience with us along the way. We're proud that he is a part of this. His name is Carl Sherman. He's a pastor. He's a businessman. He's a Texas State Representative and a PEP volunteer. He was our commencement speaker at a recent, relatively recent business plan competition and graduation, which occur on the same day at the end of a class's time in the program, actively involved as, if you will, students in the program. His message was one of the power of transformation. And let me just say, given the fact that I'm a Southern Baptist kid by background, I was looking around for the offering plates to pass. I knew I would come up pretty short with the graduates, but there were a lot of good volunteers in there that we could have done something about that at that point in time, but we have opportunities still to do that. He was outstanding. I meant to say also, that is one of the Baptist good habits. Okay, they have other habits, but that's one of the Baptist good habits. I can say that comfortably. I'm a Bader Bear. We got a lot of Bader Bears in the room, which I'm grateful for tonight. Not just Bader Bears, but from Bader University in various capacities. We're really thrilled to have them here with us, and we're building a great relationship with them. Carl Sherman is a state representative, as I said. He is a powerful leader in all that he does. It's because of that transformative spirit that resides in him. He serves in the role of senior pastor of a church. Church of Christ, I'm sorry, was elected in 2018 to the Texas House of Representatives, where he serves on the Corrections Committee and the Land and Resource Management Committee. Representative Sherman represents District 109 here in Texas, southern Dallas County, including Cedar Hill, DeSoto, and Lancaster. He has a long history of advocating for his community, and his service in the House is an extension of that, as well as for all Texans. His legislative priorities are the areas of education, including higher education, enhanced strategic economic development, and helping all Texans prosper. This also includes criminal justice reform, legislation benefiting senior citizens, as well as advocating for the quality of life for, and again, in their statement, all Texans. Please join me in welcoming a valued PEP volunteer, Representative Carl Sherman.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you to all the supporters of PEP for the hope that you provide for those souls who are striving to have a different life. You know, as Pat mentioned, I am in the Texas House of Representatives, and for that, I ask for your forgiveness. I haven't been there long, but I've been there long enough to realize that we could do better. As I sat at the table with Mitchell and sat with Mercury and Michelle, Evan, Mr. Miles, Moses, and I believe there is is it Miles, Moses, I'm missing one of the names, West, White. I really enjoy their company and the entry that Evan and Mitchell demonstrated with me, listening to me sort of talk about how things are in our prison system. Look, what I see with PEP is a vessel of hope to change the lives of people with business and discipline. Business policies that they get a chance to implement in practice. Right? They get a chance to do this inside of our prisons to demonstrate a business model that may be real or potentially real in the real world. And that's great. It's better than what we do in our prison system. As someone who has served on appropriations and on corrections, I'll tell you, we talk a lot as politicians about the cost of criminal justice, the cost of our prison system. We talk about the $2 and $3 billion that we spend, but we do not talk about, essentially, if this was a publicly traded company, we don't talk about the earnings that we make, the products that we produce. We can do better. We went from slavery to Emancipation Proclamation to convict leasing to our current prison system today. And folks, when you serve on appropriations and you see all of the individuals coming before the Appropriations Committee that have been sentenced to crimes later that DNA proved them innocent, and all of them are black and brown, that's not a justice system that is blind. We only hold 5% of the world's population, but yet we incarcerate 25% of all folks who are incarcerated. We can do better. We incarcerate more people 4 times that of China. And if you took 35 of the European countries, 35 of the more advanced European countries, we incarcerate more people than they do combined. We really need to transform our prison system too. And it's going to take innovative thinkers like you who know and believe that we strive to follow Christ. After all, Jesus says when he returns in Matthew 25:35, it's an open book test for us, right? He says, when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me drink. When I was naked, you clothed me. When I was a stranger, you took me in. When I was sick, you visited me. And when I was in prison, you visited me. Now, I've never, ever done drugs. Never smoked marijuana. That's a drug. In fact, I didn't know what it smelled like until somebody, my wife, told me. I said, that stinks. She said, honey, that's marijuana. Wow. Why would anybody want to smoke that? But for those who smoke marijuana and are sentenced to 20 years in prison, is that justice? To violate your probation because you're 10 minutes late to your parole officer and get 10 years back in prison? Is that justice? I don't think it is. And as I come to a close, because I sense that the lights are dimming, we've got to have a better justice system. You know, the God that I serve says in Acts 17 that he made of one blood all nations of men for to dwell on all the face of the earth, and had determined the times before appointed and the bounds of their habitation, that they should seek the Lord, if haply they might find him though he be not far from every one of us. For in him we live and we move and we have our very being. That God says we're one and we came from one.
That's right.
And so why is it, as I come to my final close, that we have a system in which a young man can kill 4 people and be sentenced to affluenza? 10 years ago, that's what we had here. Because affluenza was that the judge felt that this young man could not survive in our prison system. And yet I have a constituent in my district which covers Grand Prairie, Cedar Hill, DeSoto, Lancaster, Dallas, Sigerville, Ferris, Hutchins, Wilmer, Ovilla, and Glen Heights. And you better believe I better mention all of them. I have a constituent whose son lived in Grayson County in Sherman, Texas. 2 different individuals. He never killed anyone. This young man got affluenza. He violated his probation. He fled the country. We used all of our resources to apprehend him and bring him back from Mexico. And then he was given affluenza again. And yet, the son of one of my constituents didn't flee the country, the county, or the city. Police arrested him at his apartment and charged him with evading arrest, and he was sentenced to 40 years in prison. He is now serving 40 years in one of our toughest prisons in the state of Texas. He didn't kill anyone. I believe that God has given us all a conscience, the Holy Spirit, that should convict us to do what is right so that we have parity in sentencing. Because God is going to judge us all the same. Thank you all so much for supporting PEP. It means so much in that it changes the lives of those who have been incarcerated, those who have many times not been given hope or opportunities at other employers or for or with other employers, but now they're able to provide for not only themselves, but they provide jobs for other individuals who need a second chance. So thank you, God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for those compelling words. That's very, very powerful. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to shift, and it's time to get some sharks on this stage and to get some pitches going on. But if you'll give me a moment, I'd like to set the stage before I introduce the sharks and let you see what it is that we are on about in this next part of the program. Each of the entrepreneurs that will take the stage will have 6 minutes to pitch their businesses. And what that means is, those of you that are pitching your businesses tonight, you see me stand up and approach the stage, that means you're getting close to 6 minutes. You see what I'm saying? And I want to do my best out of respect to the entire room to maintain that time, because giving extra time wouldn't be fair to the other competitors. After that, we'll have 9 minutes of Q&A with the judges, and that will be how the event will take place this evening. And then, once the pitches have finished, the judges will excuse themselves, and they will work with the lovely and talented Courtney. Where are you? I think she's back there. Anyway, Courtney will help the judges to leave the room. She'll escort you to a private place where they can discuss, deliberate, and then later we'll have some remarks from Mike, and we will give away the top prize and recognize everyone. Each of the pitches this evening will begin with a video introduction, which makes my job very, very easy in terms of introducing the folks that you're about to meet, because they will introduce themselves, they will introduce their businesses, and they will share with you their stories. And as you listen to these stories, think about what makes a really good pitch. What is it that makes a pitch not just informational, but makes it compelling? Nothing is compelling, it inspires action. And for me, having worked with thousands of entrepreneurs connects with you? Which one makes you feel as if not only it's a viable business and it makes sense financially, but it makes sense on that deeper level? Because if you think about it, a pitch is where business gets personal. A pitch is not a presentation. A pitch is a place where passion comes into play. And that passion provides us with a connection, that connection that unites us all. And so, as you listen to these pitches, listen for connection. Listen for that human aspect, that aspect behind the numbers, behind the projections, behind the market outlook, and all the things that you will hear tonight. As you participate, and as we all take this journey together, so to all the competitors, congratulations and good luck on what we're about to do next. But without further ado, let me introduce our judges. Let me introduce our judges to you. And again, since they've done such a nice job of writing up these bios, my work is going to be kind of light on this part. First of all, please welcome from McKinney, Texas, the chairman of the board and CEO of Independent Bank Group, David R. Brooks. Let's give it a that seat right there. Next up, the founder, president, and CEO of TES, or Telecom Electric Supply. Please welcome to the stage, Fred Moses. Fred, come on up. All right, and while Fred is making his way, can I introduce the third? Would that be all right? Next up, managing partner of Roster Capital Partners, all the way from Naples, Florida. Please give it up for Hal Rosser. Hal Rosser. All right, thanks, Hal. Have a seat. All right, Sharks. Are we ready to kick it off? What do you think? Get comfortable. Let's get it started tonight with our very first pitch. This is Lighthouse Automotive Solutions and Nick Hartline. I promised these people a video. Are you disappointed? We're not going to roll the video? Hold, please. Technical difficulty. Hang right there. Look, I know. He's ready. Let's let the video play first.
I thought I was going to be the one with technical difficulties.
Oh, here we go. Now, game on. Here we go.
My mother was 14 when she had me. I never met my biological father. She was in and out of my life a lot, but never really fully developed into what I would consider a mother. We were more like friends because we were so close in age. My grandparents adopted me early on in life. I was basically like an only child while I was growing up, nice house, lots of vacations. 15 years old when I started to get a little bored with the normal life. Started dabbling in drugs and alcohol, and then started selling drugs. In senior year, had to go into the work program just to finish high school, and then that's when it kind of all unraveled. Moved out of my house and started down a path of really strong, continuous drug use and drug dealing. I was full on manufacturing and distributing methamphetamines at 18 years old. Had two separate lives, had a drug dealing life and a cell phone that turned off at 5 p.m. and had a home life, and my wife had no idea. But from the time I was 19 until I was 29, I made 3 trips to prison. And I didn't get chosen for PEP. I had never heard of PEP. I was in closed custody on the retrieve unit doing hard labor in the fields. I got moved to medium custody, and they told me to pack my bags, and they shipped me to the unit. I started going down to PEP. Pat made me go through effective leadership, and at the end of it, he kicked me out. He said, "You're not ready, man. I know you completed it, but you're not the right guy for us." Later on, next class comes up, and I didn't even ask if I could come back. I just showed up. He said, "The fact that you showed up," he's like, "I'm gonna put you in, take a shot." So I chose at that point to stay. Did wind up going through PEP right only job I could get was in the pit of an oil change place. Got an opportunity with PEP to come with Auto Lab. Auto Lab opened, I moved to Houston. We wound up parting ways after a few months, which led me into the Woodlands area. I actually met my wife in prison. So she actually is a worship leader. She came inside to sing, and God put us on a path to be together. So we have family dinners. My wife and I date. We go out for dates on Friday. I engage my children, my older kids, for breakfast before school. Trey now, the first kid going to college, first kid to graduate. Mom and Dad never graduated. A lot of really awesome things happening because of our intentionality. I truly believe that we lead to see others succeed 100%. And that's one thing that I took with me from PEP, man, is we want to lead to see others succeed for sure.
You guys seen that movie Smokey and the Bandit? You remember that song? Got a long way to go and a short time to get there, man. You cut my time even shorter than I was given, so let me just kick this thing off. Let me ask you a couple questions. Why are you here? I mean, really, what brought you to sit in this very seat tonight? I'm going to ask you to close your eyes with me for just a second. Come on. It's a safe room. Nobody's in prison. At least not yet. I want you to think about the person who invited you. What stirred inside of you as they unpacked the transformation of this program? What brought you to sit right where you're sitting tonight? Now I want to ask you one more time. Why are you here? Open your eyes. Let me tell you what I think. I think you're here because you're a sower. You're a person who believes that a seed planted today has the potential to produce shade and fruit for generations to come. I see a room full of people willing to lay their time, talents, and treasures on the table to esteem others greater than themselves. And that is servant leader mentality. We lead to see others succeed. My name is Nick Hartline, and I'm the owner and founder of Lighthouse Automotive Solutions, a full-service automotive repair facility located in the picturesque landscape of the upscale Woodlands, Texas. From engine replacements to wiper blades and everything in between. If you've got an automotive problem, we have a solution. Whether your contribution tonight was just showing up, it's a word of encouragement, or you're casting a vote, I'm going to make all of you a guarantee. Any seed you sow into Lighthouse Automotive will produce a harvest. Because as I stand here today, my life and my business are just a conduit of God's love, grace, and mercy. You see, to be a business owner, you've got to be a high-level problem solver, a cutting-edge innovator, and have a product or service that people can trust. And you may be thinking, wow, how'd you get all those skills? Well, it's funny you should ask. I actually learned them as a drug dealer. That's right. The product and service are much different, but the two professions are much more similar than you may think. Both involve people in need of a fix. It's almost always a crisis. They're always short on cash, and for some reason, they're always in a hurry. But let me tell you the most valuable thing that I learned. I learned how to gain and maintain trust in situations where trust is impossible. You see, who would have thought that training for successful business ownership would have been drug dealing? You see, my life has taken me from homelessness and poverty to penthouses and prison cells. Now, if there's any aspiring entrepreneurs out here tonight, this is by no means the path that I recommend. You see, our brake jobs, they're not twice as good, and our oil changes are not twice as fast. The golden ticket. We got automotive, we're not special. You see, it doesn't matter where you stand. The people never change. We all have problems. We all have pain. And none of you want to be standing in my lobby at 7 a.m. on Monday morning instead of at your job. But let me tell you what you do want. You want to be heard. You want to be valued. You want to be respected. You want to know that we care. See, all of us want to align ourselves with people that are actually making a difference in their lives. Every one of us needs somebody who knows how to make lemonade when life gives you lemons. And that is the Lighthouse difference. Quality work at a fair price. A product or service, no pressure sales tricks. A transparent process with an explanation that you can actually understand with visual evidence of your problem. All being performed by a skilled staff, serving you with love and treating you like family. You see, our objective at Lighthouse Automotive is making a difference in the life of our guests. And we do that every customer, every car, every time. I've been a master mechanic for 20 years. 10 years ago in the prison center, God spoke a very specific message to my life. That I would go to seminary, I would own a mechanic shop that would glorify Him and honor Him, and that I would walk in ministry full time. My calling was bivocational, and today I'm walking fully in that calling. I'm a pastoral elder in my church and a shop owner in the Woodlands, Texas. See, I'm taking the best part of every situation that God has strategically placed me in, married that together with my faith to create something that's just different. With an amazing staff that has a heart full of compassion, generosity, and a willingness to serve other people. 75% of my staff have a criminal record. Over 25% have no previous experience before we hired. But let me tell you what they do have. They have knowledge of what it means to be at rock bottom and somebody gave them a hand up. They show up every day with hearts full of compassion and generosity, looking for somebody to make a difference in their life. And that's how we deliver on the promise of a seed planted in our business producing a harvest. We're called to make a difference. But let me tell you this, you can't make a difference if you don't plant a seed. I have a purchase agreement much like that of a Christian Brothers Automotive. I made a down payment on the business, assumed ownership. I own the LLC, customer database, vendor accounts, equipment, and all cash flow. I have a $200,000 balloon balance on my business. My proposal tonight is to partner with you. I have a check in my pocket for $15,000, so I have some additional skin in the game. I want to take the $35,000 first prize and ask Entree Capital for a loan for $150,000 to satisfy the balloon payment on my business. So I'm going to ask you again, this time with your eyes wide open. Why are you here? I believe it's because you're a sower. Let's sow some seeds together. Lighthouse Automotive, a beacon of service excellence. For the last 6 weeks, so if that wasn't good, it's his fault.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for asking me why I dressed like a magician tonight.
If they saw you when you walked in, it's clearly obvious.
This guy. Okay, Sarge, over to you. Who's got the first question? Nick, I'm going to get off stage. You guys do your thing. Who's got the first question?
Nick, very impressive. I really enjoyed reading your business case. You're in a highly competitive market.
I am.
You explain to me how, if someone's coming in the door, they want to get whatever fixed. I mean, everything you just said sounds so good and so true and so meaningful. But how do you really get that across to the customer? And also, I noticed that instead of having mechanics talk with the customer, you're using people who are more interpersonally inclined. How's that working, and why did you choose to do that?
So I think it speaks to the real culture of my shop. Like, when I sit down in an interview, when I hire people, I unpack my story and my faith to even the playing field. And I want people who want to make a difference in the lives of other people. I literally hire people sometimes from Chick-fil-A because they train their staff well and they know how to serve. I'm not concerned about the experience, but we created a process that's fully transparent. Each car gets a digital vehicle inspection. If we say you need a water pump, you're going to see a picture of a water pump with an explanation that's broken down into simple terms We make customer calls all throughout the day, 3 times a day, to update our customers on the progress of their car. We shuttle our customers to and from, pick customers up. We have an inviting lobby. It's all the little creature comforts. Like, we ingrain ourselves into our customers' lives. These are not just our customers. These are our family. And that's what makes the difference. People, I mean, in the first year of business, apologize I left this out. I know he was trying to cut me off on time. I bought a business that had done $376,000 in the previous 12 months before I purchased it. And we're on track to close our first 12 months out in 2 weeks at $1.3 million with 150 5-star Google reviews. So I think that evidence, the proof is in the pudding. Thank you. That's a 300% revenue increase in the first 12 months.
Nick, you are a great communicator.
Thank you.
You come across well as a people person.
All glory to God.
Amen.
It's all about Him. He did it all.
Glory to God. But also, you know, as we talk about all those great attributes that you have, the other thing that I look at a person like yourself, having all those great attributes and great values, but how do you come along having so many things and not seeing the need of having other things in your life? Like, when we talk about family, you can have a lot of things, but do you, as a result, and you don't need other people, but you really do need people because there are things broken in our life, your life, and in my life. Mm-hmm. And that's what sometimes gets us on the track. How do you get on the right track with things that are broken in your life?
So that's a really good question. When I said I walked in my calling fully, I'm the men's ministry leader at my church. I'm the pastoral elder. But I surround myself with people who ask me hard questions, who hold me accountable. My office is a counseling room in my shop. It's a continuous revolving door of people that I need to speak into my life and people who need me to speak into theirs. And so it's a continuous process. I'm a full advocate of every person, man or woman, needs 2 people in their life. They need somebody they're mentoring, and they need somebody mentoring them at all times. Because if God can't get it through you, He'll stop giving it to you. And I fully believe that. With His wisdom, knowledge, fruit, money, whatever it is, relationships are, as you can hear about my business, are the most important aspect of my life, period. It's all about relationships. It's all about kingdom impact. My country's talking, he's got my firewood roar over here. I just want to talk about the Lord, man.
Nick, great job telling your story in the presentation we had at the time regarding how you saw your future, right? You figured it out. Very helpful. You talked a little detail.
Sir.
Are you making any payments on the $200,000?
So no, I made a $50,000 down payment.
Right.
And I have a fully executed lease, 12 years old. The guy that, because I bought a business that was essentially going bankrupt. Right. And he said, look, I don't want to distract you. I want you to succeed. I want you to put all your money. I've invested $100,000 in cash that's paid for. All the equipment's been replaced, tire machines, lifts, epoxy flooring. So I've been reinvesting. And he did that so that I could build that business back to the standard. And this type of franchise, this is a standard franchising agreement that he's kind of adopted as a sole proprietor. I mean, he owns 56 companies. He's a big businessman, but he adopted this model to say, hey, you take it over. If you can salvage it, you pay me. If you can't, move out and we'll turn it into a liquor store. You know, and so
that's what we need.
Yeah, that's what he was. Not what I would put there, but that's his philosophy.
And so, Nick, when I was looking at your numbers, it looked like, just based on the first few months, it sounds like you guys are really picking up some momentum now on revenue from what you just said. Yeah. But the first 3 quarters or so, it looked like it would have been tough for you to make this payment on the loan that you're talking about.
Right.
But help me understand the first quarter numbers.
So if you look through basically the first 7 months of the year, you'll see, if you look at my profit and loss statement, somewhere in the realm of $10,000 to $12,000 almost a month that I was liquidating out of my profitability to replace equipment, epoxy floor. That's what I said. All that $100,000 worth of improvements, I own lock, stock, and barrel. I don't have any of that financed. So I paid cash for scan tools for $10,000, lifts are $8,000. So we have all the state-of-the-art equipment, programming. I mean, you didn't get to see inside of the shop too much, but it is now the Woodlands. I mean, when people drive up, they're like, this place looks better than Mercedes, you know, and so that's what it needed in order for us to be competitive in the market.
So do you feel like you got it where you need it now?
Oh yeah, right now, my last big expense was 2 lifts that I just purchased for $13,000, and at this point, it's just maintenance, baby. Now we're smooth sailing. We're ready to turn and burn and start driving the profits, and then, you know, all the hard expenses.
And no other debt other than this $150,000 that you're proposing?
Actually, the 2 lifts I just purchased, I have a 1-year term on those. I made a $4,000 down payment, $9,000. I pay $1,000 a month.
Okay.
Be done.
Thanks.
Other than that, all my other financial commitments have been satisfied. Money reserved in the savings account, you know, working capital in the bank, in a good position. I will say too, like most other people, Entree Capital, you know, has been a blessing, because I have been all the way into underwriting 5 times already and been kicked out because I have a felony on my record. Credit's good, money's right, financials are good, get to underwriting and they say, sorry man, no
Does
go.
that affect SBA as well? Have you looked at SBA?
It does and doesn't. It depends on the type of felony conviction that you have, but the hoops and requirements after the SBA loan are satisfied can sometimes get pretty strenuous.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
One more question.
Yeah, Nick, where do you see the business in 5 years?
That's a great question. So we're rapidly kind of running out of space. The customer base is responding so well, and so $10,000 per bay a week is maximum efficiency out of any shop. You can ask anybody. So we're a 4-bay shop. $40,000. We've routinely hit $40,000. I mean, we're maximizing every square inch. So I have a petition in with the Woodlands, a building plan to add 4 more bays on the back of the building. If the Woodlands will not approve it, my business partner and I, we are already scouring for the second location. As we can get this one running, profitable, moving, then we can leverage assets to continue on. Because we truly believe that we have a business model and a process. Like I said, the result from the response from the customer says everything. Multiple people in this room tonight that use my service. And so we believe we have a scalable model and something, but this, God is in control. We wake up every day and we work as everything depends on us, and we pray like everything depends on Him. And He works out the details, man. So
there you have it. Let's give him a round of applause. Great job. Strong start, those big sharks? Huh? Yeah. That combination of sort of philosophy, approach, and certainly a Christ-centered approach, right? But also, I mean, he knew his numbers. Yeah, interesting. And yeah, lots of like in that. Way to start us off. Well, let's get the next one up here. What do you say? 24? What do you think of that? What did you think, Ron? It's extraordinary what comes out of PEP. It is extraordinary, you know, and it's living proof. Living proof. Next up, we're going to hear about a company called Davis Transport, and let me just look at the men in the back before I say we're going to see it. There's the thumbs up. We are going to see a video. There's going to be a video, and then Gerald's going to come on out here. Let's roll that tape. Thanks so much.
You know, my mom was at work, so boys being boys, we were always getting into it with each other. And every time there was an altercation at the house, they would always call Gerald. Like I was, you know, pretty much was the dad. In high school, I was an average student. My attention was mostly on sports. After high school, I became a father. I had a little girl that I had to take care of and I was responsible for. Shortly after that, I became a father again. So that's when the problems came. Because now I have 2 kids that I have to try to take care of. My car had broke down. I was catching a bus to work, and it just wasn't working out. I eventually started selling drugs so I could find for me and my little small family. I had no reason to keep working a regular job because it just wasn't paying enough. So I became a full-time drug dealer. In 1998, 2 years after I caught my first, the dope cases, I call it a murder case. The dope cases I could deal with, but the murder charge, that was something pretty serious. Towards the end of my sentence, it was a bulletin board, and it was something about Entrepreneurship Program. Finding PEP pretty much made those 12 years worth it, because I got something out of going to prison. I knew I needed to find a skill, and I knew I needed to help provide for my family. I didn't want to come home and just be a burden to my family, so I knew I had to start working the right way. And I had already planned on getting my CDL. After I got my CDL, I had a job lined up at Argos. Once I got to Argos and I started training, it was a little bit more difficult than I had expected. I almost gave up, but I told myself, I said, well, my family's depending on me and I gotta get this no matter what. And it was pretty difficult, but I finally got it. Argos was a great opportunity for me, but I didn't have a chance to grow, and I needed to grow. It was just the best thing that ever happened to me, just stepping out on faith and getting out of comfort zone. It gave me an opportunity to put both my young kids in the college and make sure I stay on track. And it gave me and my wife an opportunity to start a business and all the housing crowd places about 6 years ago. Next will be my senior anniversary that I'm free. And so, I've just been remaining focused and say it's made all the difference with me and my family. And I'm just so grateful for everything that I've learned from PEP, and I'm just going to continue to grow and continue to prosper.
My name is Gerald Davis. I'm the owner of Davis Transport. Now, what we do at Davis Transport, we haul sand and gravel, which is a pretty simple business. We pick up the material and we deliver it to construction sites and mobile construction sites. Now, how I got started in this business, like you seen in the video, I worked for a cement company called Argos. So, I was told if I get my CDL that I could start driving a cement truck. So I had planned on getting my CDL anyway when I was in prison. So I got my CDL, and I went through training. Me and my wife, we met Les Hogan, which is a PEP volunteer, right? Great guy. He's a friend of mine right to this day. So me and my wife, we talked to Les. He told me where I was going to be working at, which was down the street from my house, and I could just ride a bike there. That was real convenient. So I went to work every day. I got my 10,000 hours in as a driver, right? So, I felt like it was time for me to expand because, I told myself I was gonna work at Argos for 3 years, no more than 5. So right at 4 years, it was time for me to move on because, I couldn't grow, So I used to talk to the guys that would deliver materials to the plant. And I'm like, man, they just come, drop the material off, and they leave. It seemed like it was pretty simple. So I decided that I was going to step out on faith. I talked to Les Hogan, and I told him that I had bought a truck and a trailer. And I told him that, that I was leaving Argos, and I got his blessing. I didn't want to just quit, because he had faith in me. And actually, when I was going through training, like I said, it was pretty difficult for me, and I wanted to quit a couple of times. But I heard from one of the guys that Les said, no matter how long it takes, we're going to make sure that Gerald gets the training, because I had exceeded to training as normal training, so he stuck with me. So I appreciate that. I had my family dependent on me, so I just made sure that I stuck with it and I got everything together. So once I started working at aggregate haulers, I seen the growth in the DFW Metroplex area. There's a lot of subdivisions. You keep houses popping up, people coming from all over the United States to move to Texas because the economy is good. And so I was like, man, I think it's time for me to, scale my business after, being the owner operator for about 5 years. I'm still with aggregate haulers. And I actually told them before I even knew about this competition that I was going to get another truck and trailer this summer. So, and once I found out about this, I was like, right on time. So I did that, and like I say, the growth in the area, it's just tremendous. Like it's growing. So after talking to aggregate haulers, and I got a driver already. So like my business has two parts. The first part is to get my own authority. And see, once I get my own authority, I can drive, I can work for any company besides aggregate haulers. I still will be not leased, but I'll still be working with aggregate haulers. But I can work with any other company. Because she just texted me today and said, we don't have any loads tomorrow. So if I had my own authority, I could reach out to other companies and work with them. So, and the second part is to get another truck and trailer. This is about $65,000. We're talking about $65,000, the $35,000 for night, and the $30,000 that I have saved of my own money. And this plan is, and after when I do that, I could, it's debt free. I could double my money, and it has a 3-year payback plan. So that's my plan, and this business is based on dependability. I've been a driver, and I've been dependable. I've been going to work. I got my own truck and trailer. I've been going to work. I've been dependable, and like I said, this business is based on dependability. Every day, every load. And I thank you guys. I'm that guy. Thank you.
This is the part where you give God the glory if it goes well and you blame me if it doesn't, all right? Yes, sir. Who's got first? Yeah, here we go.
Got it. Joe, great job. Thank you. I really enjoyed reading your story, the journey you've been on. It's amazing. If you get your own authority, and so right now you're getting your loads through aggregate haulers.
Right.
You'll have to have relationships, right, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, with other companies.
Yes.
And so how do you plan to go about that? Because the only concern as I read through it is, when you're used to, you said all aggregate haulers and they don't have any loads tomorrow and all that, then who do you call and how do you know them and how do you plan to build out that network? Because you're going to have a network to do it.
Just call and talk to them. Because they need trucks, they need people to deliver their material, and they'll be happy to have us. I've already talked to a couple other companies, and it's so busy. They'll be more than happy to have us come in and work with them.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of activity, right, as you pointed out in your presentation, but it'll be important for you to create those relationships.
You see, right now, I pay aggregate gets 20% of my loads, and once I get my own authority, they'll get 13%. And it's probably the same with the rest of the company. So that'll help me with paying the driver and also my insurance, because like once I get my own authority, like everything will be in me. I have my own insurance now, but aggregate has my liability insurance, right? So once I get my own authority, it'll be out. But I can make more money. I can make more revenue.
So Gerald, you talk about the businesses and getting the loads. Where's your microphone? Oh, that's right. Okay, so talk about.
I'm just here to help.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay. So, Gerald, in point, is your wife involved in the business, or do you in any way in terms of, what about you?
My kids,
huh?
My kids.
Okay. What about maintaining your books, administration, and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I have an accountant.
You have an accountant that does that information.
Right.
Well, very good. That's because that's important.
Yes, sir.
But anyway, how do you communicate to other clients that you're doing? How do you communicate to other clients that you're doing a good job for?
Well, see, I haven't had a chance to do that yet because aggregate gets my loads.
Okay.
So I haven't really. Every now and then somebody call me, but I can't work with them because my truck is leased on to aggregate haulers.
You can't tell them what kind of job you're doing for.
Because I only work for aggregate haulers. That's why I'm getting my own authority. And once I get my.
You keep saying authority. Can I ask you a question? Let me come back here.
What does it mean?
Yeah, because you've said that several times, and I apologize, Sharks, but I'm over here, you guys are sharking, I'm drowning. I don't understand what that means.
It just means like, when I have my own authority, like I would be responsible for everything.
Everything. And with aggregate,
I'm just
reduced from 20 to 13.
I'm just leased on to them. My truck is leased on to them.
Got it. You become your own man. You have your
Right. I don't have to do anything with. I can still just get loads with aggregate haulers, but I don't have to go to any meetings or anything. Like, you know, I can.
Right.
Now my truck has aggregate haulers on the side. Right? And once I get my own authority, it'll have Davis Transport on it. I mean, I won't be.
And then you can step into creating the relationships and the things.
How do you go about, just quickly, Joe, how do you go about getting the authority?
Oh, you have to go to the state and they'll give you your DOT number, and I have a DOT number, and that's it. And I've tried.
Cost money? Is there a cost associated
Yes,
with that?
it was $6,000. I tried a while back, and I realized I wasn't ready yet.
I saw it was in the budget.
Right.
You gave me.
Right, because I had to pay for a lot of other stuff besides, you know, the insurance. My insurance went up because I had just kind of started, so my insurance was high. But now I've been doing it for 5 years, so my insurance has dropped a lot. I got more experience. Because when I first started driving, I didn't have any experience. I just done it. You know, and it's been working out.
Gerald, you did a nice job of explaining your business. What are the downsides? I mean, is there more demand for what you have to offer than there are trucks and trailers? You talk about how you deliver on time, you're consistent, a couple of your hallmarks. What are the downsides, and how competitive is the business actually getting the runs from other people?
Well, the downside is when my truck is in the shop and I can't work, or I might be taking a load and something breaks and I don't know what it is, and I'm stuck on the side of the road. You know, we've all passed down the highway and see the guys in the truck with the flares and the hood up, and every time I pass by one, I say, man, God, because I know what they're going through. So that's the downside. And like, if I have to take the truck to the shop, and there might be some trucks in front of me, you know, I can't just take it to the shop and they just gonna fix it as soon as I drop it off. So my numbers probably would be a little better. Now I got a better truck now. But the first truck I got, it was kind of, you know, patched. I don't want to say it was patched together, but it had more miles on it than the truck I got now, more dependable. So if I get to the contest, I can get a better truck. You know, the truck that I get would be pretty better than other ones I have.
Girl, can you go out and lease trucks or have trucks? Get a commitment from a trucking company that if my truck is down, can I lease a truck? Can you do that in advance? Have that relationship?
I don't know if you can do that. Not with the sand and gravel, because by the time I go through all the paperwork and do all that, my truck will probably be fixed. Then I could just jump in my truck.
Why it would be an advantage to try and have paperwork already available in advance, approved with some people, and then it may be easier.
Maybe when I've heard that, but not with the sand and gravel. You know, I know they don't. I've never seen anybody do that.
Following on Hal's question, are you confident, Gerald, that there's plenty of demand for a second truck and that you can keep both trucks busy and meet the projection you were talking about?
Oh, yes, sir. Because once I get the second truck, I'm going to get a third truck.
I think I heard that earlier about...
Yeah, the second truck, it'll be easy to get the third truck. That makes sense.
I guess the equipment is real important in terms of having equipment available. So that's why it would be.
Well, you know, I get my parts. I got everything I need. Mechanics. I park my truck. I don't even have to pay for parking. Parking is free. I park on my cousin's lot, so I don't have to pay for that.
You bought a truck, but you paid cash for it, so you have not.
No, I didn't pay cash for it.
No,
I owe like $15,000.
That's very easy for you to manage that in terms of.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I got money saved up. I've got an account for when I need parts or whatever.
You said you've already lined up a truck for a second truck.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's give it up. Straightforward business. I mean, what do you think? What did you think of that business?
Very straightforward, very understandable.
Yeah. I thought for sure he was going to say, Fred, could you tell me about how you do your leases? And
No, I do that.
Yeah, I thought there might be a conversation or sidebar about, with TES, right?
Plan ahead,
Sure.
Tee stuff up. Tee it up.
Tee it up. I got you. Tee it up. Yeah, absolutely. Planning ahead.
Hit it down the fairway. Hit up in advance.
Yeah, there you go.
I thought his presentation was key, Chris, in terms of showing up is the whole thing. When these people need, and when you're on construction and you're building buildings and things, not having the load of concrete or the aggregate or whatever show up is critical. And I think I'd like to see that. And obviously Gerald started from scratch. He's built it up, and I love the idea of his expanding to a second truck.
And a third truck.
And a fourth. Let's don't limit.
Well, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Let's give it up for Gerald one more time. Wow, fantastic. All right, our final pitch. Keep an eye on the back there. We're going to see it. Man, I love it when the thing comes up. Here we go. Put your hands together for Russell Nentwich. Here's his video.
I remember, having like a mom and dad at home, but it wasn't really a functional family. I was in like 9th grade for probably like 4 months. I got kicked out of school for a fight, and that was it. I never went back to school. I got a job doing foundation work. That's when I started my construction at about, I'd say probably about 16, 17. I never expected a business to take off out of that and become something. I was working really late. I'd been working a lot of hours. I was exhausted. And he's like, hey, boss, man, you want us to go fast? He's like, man, look, it ain't going to bother you at all. You just do something. You'll stay up for you can stay up for 2 days, knock this out straight, go to sleep, it'll be over with. And I said, all right, I'll try it. This stuff was like the best stuff I had ever done in my life, right? I could work all the time. And I had a sore on my cheek that had been there for probably like 2-3 weeks. And I started thinking, man, I need to get some makeup and cover this up so people don't notice it. I made eye contact with myself. I'm like, you had this huge sore on your face. And your thought is you need makeup to cover this up? And like, oh my God, dude, you're addicted. I cried like this then. Like, oh man, I'm addicted because I loved it so much. And then I went right back to doing it. And I just accepted it. I thought to myself, well, I love this stuff like this. I'm not giving it up. I decided I'm going to start making meth. I don't want to just sell it, I'm going to make meth because it was expensive. I had 37 felonies. I had 22 indictments, 4 of them aggravated, criminal mischief, burglaries. They originally came at me with a ridiculous amount of time. I want to say it was like 45 years was their first offer. And by the time it was done, man, I got it down to 5. By the time I got 5 years, I had already come to the conclusion, I'm done with that. All of that, I'm done with it. I want better in my life. So when I went to prison, man, I already knew what I didn't want. I signed up, and Marcus Hill came down and saw me. Somehow I got accepted from there and ended up getting to go to PEP, man. And I remember talking to Monty Pendleton, man. He said when I started to get back, he said, man, I had accomplished a lot. But like when you start to invest in other people, man, that's when you find happiness, man. That's where happiness comes from. You find purpose. I had paroled out to my mom's house. I didn't want to get back in construction. It was not my goal. This time I wanted to do stuff a little different, which brought in the wood shop. There was a fulfillment there from investing in people, helping men. That was my calling. And then with my wife, there was that acceptance, And she was with me at my worst. She saw me at my worst. I built things out of wood, man. That's what I do for her. A bunch of jewelry boxes and tables. It's my love language, woodwork.
Yeah, I just want to tell you first that I'm extremely grateful to be here. I'm grateful for all the judges. And for all of you, without PEP wouldn't be what it is. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without y'all. But mainly, I'm grateful for the first time I'm speaking in public, not trying to convince 12 of y'all of my innocence. So. You know, there's something powerful about taking a piece of wood that most people consider trash, scrap for a burn pile, putting it on a workbench, grabbing an antique number 4 scrub plane, and plowing off years of rough outer shoulder and build the beauty within. That piece has been ready to tell its story. My name is Russell Netwich, and I help wood tell its story. I have a passion for it, and I'm good at it. When I was 16, I got kicked out of school. I got a job, and I never looked back. At 18, I found myself on a framing crew down in Galveston Island. The owner saw I had a passion for it, and I worked hard, so he taught me. Within 3 years, I could frame a house from the ground up. At 21, I meet Robert Taylor. Robert Taylor taught me everything about wood floors. He taught me about parquet inlays, herringbone, straight lace, tarred street. He taught me about wood movement, moisture content, moisture barriers. He taught me about clear coat, stains, sand, and finish. After 2 years, Robert would tell you I was his one-man floor crew. Later in life, I find myself incarcerated. Not for the first time, but for the last. And there I meet Monty Pendleton. He's a PEP volunteer, excuse me. He's a PEP volunteer. And Monty had a huge impact on my life. I had asked him one time, I said, Monty, what's your life's greatest accomplishment? And without hesitation, he said, Russell, it was finding my purpose, my calling, by empowering others. Empowering others. That was a lot to unpack. That was the day that Monty taught me the difference between success and significance. I've taken these lessons and I've applied them to my life and to my business. My business is Figured Wood Studio. Figured wood is caused by an abnormal tree growth. You also have wood defects. You get things like curl, burl, rot, knots, and spalting. Now, spalting is my favorite. It's actually a fungus that affects the tree. It sounds disgusting, but it's absolutely beautiful. It causes these crazy black line patterns to the slab. I love it. It's an imperfection. But I like that wood's not perfect. I'm not perfect. And I'm sure we could all look at seasons in our life and find plenty of rot, knots, and spalting. These lessons that I've learned have empowered me. And tonight, I feel called to empower others. You know what? Tonight, I feel called to empower others. I have 2 men working for me. Both have been to prison. One's a PEP member. I've had the honor and privilege to teach them both for many things over the years. I can tell you the learning curve is much easier in the shop than it is in the field, which is why I want to grow the shop. I do want to tell you that Figured Wood Studio started as an offshoot of my construction company. After years of custom remodels, I realized not too much is truly custom in a remodel. I wanted to solve this. Most of the stuff you get is cookie cutter material in a custom arrangement. So to make something different, I started creating unique pieces, like distinct vid hood covers, islands, and fireplace build-outs. Each piece was handcrafted to meet my customers' needs and match their personality. My customers will spend a lot of money on a home transformation. And at the end, inevitably, they loved it all, but their favorite part was that one custom piece, and that meant a lot to me. You know, my favorite part is when I get a picture of that family standing in front of that fireplace at Christmas, or kids playing around that table that I handcrafted and built. It's gonna sound silly, but being part of that picture, I feel like I'm part of that family's history. I call it my superpower. We've handcrafted many pieces. We built humidors and whiskey cabinets. We built doors and dining sets. We designed our own tables as well. We built end tables, side tables, coffee tables, entry tables. Right now we're working on a bedroom suite that's gonna be amazing. I can't wait till it's finished. We don't just offer traditional furniture, we also incorporate things like epoxy and live edge, geodes and metals. Oh, and we built automated furniture. We've done some automated whiskey cabinets, they're amazing. I'm serious enough about this that I've invested $185,000 of my own money over the past 5 years to grow the shop. I'm going to grow the shop. I want to teach more men who have a desire to learn a trade. I've upgraded everything in my shop to commercial, industrial, even a large commercial CNC, except for a few things. It's an active floor. I made a saw top table saw with a safety feature prevention of losing fingers, and a clear dust extraction system, which pull out more of the harmful dust particles from the air instead of our lungs. I need to finish out the storage in the new shop so it'll flow more efficiently. And fourth, I need advertisement. You really can't grow a business without advertisement. I'm telling you, when people see our furniture, they buy it time and time again. I've learned the lesson. When you're showing pictures and you're talking about it, I've sold pieces, they buy it. With this investment, some of my own capital, God's favor and my drive, I can grow the shop to $200,000 a year annual revenue in 2 short years. On top of the current $300,000 a year annual revenue the construction company produces. The shop currently produces 15% of that at a 60% profit margin, so it's really good profit margin. By using my 2 guys full-time in the shop and then going back to using my crews to manage the construction company, and not only can I profit the shop, but also the construction company. That being said, I'm asking y'all to take part in that calling tonight by investing in that vision. Not only allowing us to build furniture to be part of your family story, or transform wood to tell its own story, but also by empowering men, knots, flaws, and all, to craft their own transformational story. Thank you, God bless. First 2 people nail it, and I go, I'm going to screw up.
Nobody else knew.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody else
They
knew.
do not. I told you all.
Well, hey, I just want to say great job.
Thank you very much.
Who's got the first question, Sharks? One more time for him. Who's got the first one?
Okay, so Russell, you talk about making this $50,000 investment, and then that will increase your revenues by $200,000 a year. And then I saw one of the key investments, the biggest line item was the marketing. Can you break that down for us? What are you thinking about marketing? How are you going to get that out? The one thing I really loved about your presentation was the way you talked about the wood and the flaws of it, and then it just made me think of art. It made me think of how long it takes for a piece of wood to become a piece of wood, and through all kinds of weather and all kinds of things. So that's a metaphor for life, and I appreciate you pointing that out. But talk to us about how you're going to market.
So I'm glad you asked that. So there's both direct and indirect marketing. Marketing is definitely not my strong point, so I usually put that in the hands of people who are capable. But there's a gentleman, Brandon, here I spoke to tonight. He's a PEP member as well, and he has a marketing and advertising firm. So my goal is to set a large proportion of that aside, and over time, however much is needed to invest at a time, because it's really about ROI. So I have to find out how much exactly is going to be a return on that investment. But as it is, when we see exactly where that money's best spent, then obviously I'll flood it more into that area. That being said, one of my main goals with the marketing is there's a huge amount of money to be made if you can advertise on the social media. So basically like YouTube, I want to start making some of these videos and shorts. Because what we do is not traditional, always traditional. We do a lot of traditional furniture as well, but what we specialize in are really unique pieces. I try to design things that haven't been seen in other places before. So like basically like a whiskey barrel that rises up, the top layers of humidor, the bottom layers of whiskey cabinet. Things that are just unique. So when you put these out there, people see them, they can't just make them themselves and they want them. It's easy to sell these products. But that being said, my goal for marketing is to find out where it's going to be most effective and flood it there. I've got some relationships set up to figure that out.
Thank you.
Russell, I was interested in your presentation and in your written comments. You said that actually the woodworking can be taught, and it's a process, and that's actually easier to do than being an experienced remodeler, because there's things that an unexperienced person doesn't even see, and they get into trouble down the road or whatever. Where is your real passion? Is it in the combined business of remodeling and woodworking? Is it woodworking? How do you see the business evolving over the next 3, 4, 5 years?
So that's a great question. So first and foremost, you're talking about my personal passion. I love transformation. So when I go to home, I don't know if you had some pictures up here or not. I was too busy focusing on the pitch. But I love, for instance, when you take a home that's built in 1900s, I walk up, I can see through the walls. That house has story. They talk about good homes, like that house has history. And so I took old Southern Old New method. There it is right there. I took a Southern Old New method in my own hand, and after that, I brought it back to life. So I love that transformation of the home. I don't want to give that up. But I also love furniture. The first time I picked up a hand plane, I thought that's the stupidest thing in the world. Like, why would you want a hand plane? They make a piece of electric machinery. They do this twice as fast. And I picked one up, plowed a piece of wood, got this wispy girl they call it. I'm thinking, this thing is gorgeous. This is how America was built, right? And I just fell in love with it. So I definitely have a passion for that. I also enjoy making a profit. I enjoy employing men. and I enjoy all of it. Here's the thing: I don't have to make one for the other. I'm telling you, because it is hard to train it and model it. I have an accent. Just my brain works that way. Numbers, they kill me. I'll be quite honest with you. You know those are. But for me, I can count to two pretty easy. But you know, when you get a wood job or construction, I'm great at it. Because of that, I can easily manage the job. When I walk up, I can tell you right off as soon as I see a job. If I don't do this or that, there's going to be a problem. So I tell my electrician, I need this. My sheetrocker, one thing, my framers, because they'll screw everything up and they're not making sure. I can tell them exactly what we need, and I have no problem with that because I'm telling you, brother, when I'm telling you I've done this since I'm 16, I've done this since I'm 16. I'm not one of these guys that just hiring crews and hoping they don't screw it up. I can tell you way before. So with the shop, see these guys with that profit margin in that, these guys I can bring them in, I can easily train them, I can manage the crews back and forth because I do have very good crews too. They're not all incompetent or else I wouldn't be here. I'd probably be sued back in jail. But so yeah, it's definitely doable. It's definitely doable. And if you'd like to mentor me, I'll definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
And in business, it really is good to, we like to do work for people, but we have to make money and to be able to continue to do work. And how do you that's especially in unique jobs like you do in terms of how do you come up best and make sure that you do need to make a profit. You do need and they're pretty expensive deals because you put a lot of creativity in it. You put a lot of yourself in it, and that's a passion you have in it. So how do you best do that and price it properly, and also that the pricing it properly, but also it includes your part of you in that piece, part of you in that environment. So how do you do that? But also you want to make a decent profit, and you want people to be in love with your work.
So let me make sure I hear this right, because I have a very short attention span. So you're asking me how I make a profit with the furniture
and the jobs that you do, because you do a lot of unique jobs, but you have a good profit margin, and I thought that was very good, and that's very important, because that's how you keep going.
Well, if you like that, you would have really liked it if I hadn't been using my two guys in the construction field the whole time, because I'll tell you what, it has cost me a lot of money to do that, but I feel like some things are worth the cost, the benefit, right? Because, well, that being said, it's definitely been a cost, but a benefit as well. But so, as far as the construction jobs go, I've been extremely blessed. You know, when you're really good at what you do, the Bible says, if a man's good at what he does, he'll work for kings. He'll work for kings. And my customers, they have money, so it's not an issue of whether or not we can do it. My customers usually own multiple houses.
Amen. That's right.
And very blessed. So I'm worried about it. I'm worried about it. He has blessed me. And I'll be honest with y'all. You can tell me I have people tell me, "Oh, you're a great businessman." I'm not. Most of you probably have far better numbers than myself. But I tell them all the time, my next job, all that stuff comes from God.
Amen.
I tell you, I do my best to do my work. I have 4 or 5 jobs lined up right now. People just call me every time I was about to say, I get more calls. Crazy. That being said, as far as how I find my jobs, they will find me. So I pick my customer on my job. I pick my customer on my job. As far as my profit, I'm old school. I don't have a lot of those computers where you pop all in it. I did it up and I put my percentage on there. Tell my guy not to screw up and everything goes wrong.
Great job. I have walked in the woods my whole life, and I've never seen wood as beautiful as what was in that picture. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just extraordinary. I got sort of an artist. Not sort of. I mean, truly an artist from that last pitch. Did you get that?
The wood is art. If you look at the picture, look at that tape.
Reading his story, talk about you get the passion that he has, and the creativity that in the work. Pretty extraordinary.
Yeah.
That's his differentiating factor, I believe. He's got something that the average remodel person doesn't have. He sees something that other people don't see. He's able to translate that over to the customer and back. And I think that's what he loves doing, and that's why he's successful.
I'm curious, did you have, I mean, it's a custom production model, right? Would be how we would describe this. Did you have any misgivings about it? I mean, I felt like you really answered how the production piece of it fits together. His clients, it's not a lot of price sensitivity, seem like a high margin.
No, and I think so. I think that an important part of a person like working in a business like him, they really do have to reasonably understand, make enough money in it so that they'll get a chance to continue doing the work. Otherwise, if they don't, but if you do good work, like the Bible said, they'll pay you. Amen.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's what he's doing.
That's right. That's the book of profitability, and you're quoting from it. Are we having fun yet? What, can you believe what stood on this stage tonight? You know, they say, it's inspiring. It's inspiring, you know, and just to see these men sharing their stories and their expression, and you know that for everybody who stood on this stage, words like discipline, commitment, showing up, they take on a whole new meaning because of, am I right? Because of where they've come from, and it's powerful. It's very compelling. Yeah. All right. Well, here's the next part of what's going to happen. Courtney is standing right over here, and she has let me know that the deliberation process involves collecting your sheets. So, if you guys want to talk it over or anything like that, I mean, but it should be, the numbers probably tell the story, I'm guessing. So that's what Courtney is here to do. Is that right, Courtney? Do you guys feel comfortable with that, with just having her collect your sheets? Will it tell the whole story for you? Or would you like to?
I need a minute to fill my sheet out.
We need to fill a sheet.
I tell you what, then let's do this, Sharks. Yeah, Courtney, would you escort them to the back, and we'll give them a private moment so that they can chat while we continue the story. Hal, thank you so much. Fred, thank you so much. You got it there. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys. One of the things that I absolutely love, because it is true, but only 100% of the time, and it is this: the past reminds us, it does not define us. And when we look at the past, it reminds us of where we have come from and where we are in our journey. This journey for PEP, I mean, Mike talked about it in the beginning, 20 years to get here, but the best is yet to come. And on that note, let me turn it back over to Mike Humphrey. Put your hands together.
Entrepreneurs, sharks, and yes, you, Chris. Awesome. Yeah. Can we give it up again one more time? You know, we've been doing this for a while. We're here to celebrate the 20th anniversary. But I hope you have the sense of the room. It never gets old. And I want to tell you a story because we're at a shifting point. And if you're looking at your watch, it's okay. We're kind of on the 30-yard line, and I'm gonna give you a roadmap to get into the end zone. But before we do that, here's the story. There were many years when I look around the room, and lots of y'all go inside and you volunteer for events, or you volunteer to teach. There are all kinds of ways that men like Russell and Gerald and Nick being imparted to, and they were being touched as they were going through the program. All of us have our own story. Tonight I'm going to tell you one of mine. I'm I get in my car and I drive from Houston to Bellingham, and I'm supposed to teach. And I go there all the way, and I sit in the parking lot and I say, I don't know if you've ever been here, but I was. I don't have anything. So you get to those moments when you sit in the car and you get, it's helpful sometimes to read a psalm where the King David, who is called the man after God's own heart, he begins by being honest. He said, I ain't got anything. And you know what? I'm starting to get a feeling that this work that we're doing and what we just saw, unpack a word here, is holy. So I ain't going to go inside until you tell me something. I sat there a while. And what came in eventually, it was a shifter, it was a changer. It was 4 words. It was restored hope and new identity. And then I had something to say because it wasn't mine. That's what we just saw. Restored hope and new identity, and there's one other thing I want to say before we shift. If that was deeper, we're going to go wider, and I'm going to shift it wider, but part of the restored hope and new identity, especially the identity, where we cannot underestimate its impact, is when these men graduate and their families are there many times for the first time in years. They're graduated with a certificate in entrepreneurship from Baylor University. My wife thinks it's funny that I have 500 Facebook friends that are all PEP guys. Out of those 500, there's probably about 200 that have a picture on the Facebook of their Baylor certificate. And so, Jeremy, I'm looking at you and your table and this contingent from Baylor, and our hearts go out to you. We are grateful.
Yes, sir.
Because you've contributed to that new identity. And thank you. Would you all please stand? Let's shift. We're back to the 30-yard line. 5 years ago, we met here out of a sense of obedience and courage and boldness to say, if there's ever an opportunity to put something on stage in the name of compassionate conservatism, buddy, this is it. Well, 5 years have gone by. And so what has been so satisfying in these 5 years with our board and our companies and this investment in this entity, you know, you heard guys talk about tonight, hey man, I need some capital to buy out a note. I need some capital to buy a truck. I need some capital for woodworking equipment. How are we going to do that? And what got birthed was this idea of a bank that will only lend to felons. Okay, I hear the rumble, okay? It's kind of like it's got an underwriting committee, and the only way to hear no for sure is if you don't have a felony conviction. So 5 years ago, we stood on the stage and said, this is the we, as my friends Roger Manny and Steve Hausman said, we're going to take a step of faith and we're going to form Entre Capital. And we're going to make some loans to some men that are going to that and multiply it. And as part of this, create a whole new chapter of what can be done. And what we just saw in this pitch competition was deeper. Now we're going to go better. We're going to start journeying with these guys, and the opportunities to impact and advise on the inside. Now we're going to move outside. We're going to become business advisors. But it's better than that. Because on the outside, we're going to build a community, an incubator that's not only open to PEP graduates, but it's open to what we call all returning citizens of character. And they might be from prison fellowship, they might be from Kairos, and they might be from Bridges to Life, but there's this electrifying idea. There's a bigger opportunity for us to lean into if we go black. So we're going to see on the third yard line, and we're going to hear some stories of the update of what we said 5 years ago. Now, we probably wouldn't do it unless it was good. And it's good, okay? So I'm going to introduce, first by the video, we're going to roll it, the man that won the pitch competition on this stage 5 years ago, my friend, Ruben Mauricio. Ruben and Mauricio are right there.
Imagine a business with no website, a business that doesn't advertise, a business that doesn't even have business cards. Is that a crazy business idea or what? In 2019, Ruben Mauricio stood on this very same stage and shared that exact concept. Ruben's pitch that evening emphasized what was more important to him than marketing, the values he learned on the inside while in PEP: accountability, integrity, execution, excellence. In short, his business is successful because his customers value having a reliable partner with solid character. Ruben shared how he founded RPM Diesel Services based on character, providing quality work on time at a reasonable price. Ruben understood that he wasn't selling repairs. Ruben was selling uptime for his customers. In just 1 year, he built his dream into a $1.5 million business, repairing oil field treater trucks and delivery trucks in the Permian Basin. Ruben won the 2019 competition, pitching for $100,000 in loan capital to scale his business. In that 2019 audience, someone heard Ruben and valued what he had built. Based on his pitch, Ruben was asked to participate in Stanford University's Latino Entrepreneurship Initiative. Please welcome Mr. Ruben Mauricio. Delivery trucks in the Permian Basin. Ruben won the 2019 competition, pitching for $100,000 in loan capital to scale his business. In that 2019 audience, someone heard Ruben and valued what he had built. Based on his pitch, Ruben was asked to participate in Stanford University's Latino Entrepreneurship Initiative. Please welcome Mr. Ruben Mauricio.
I always get emotional when I get up here because I always put so much into what I'm going to say, and it comes from my heart. So please bear with me if I choke up a couple times. It's just really, my emotions getting the best of me. But I want to start off by telling you that my name is Ruben Mauricio. I own RPM Diesel Service. We repair chemical treater trucks and delivery trucks in the Permian Basin. You might know a couple of my customers, Baker Hughes and Coastal Chemical. We repair trucks. We sell parts, but mainly we sell uptime. We keep their fleet running 24/7, anytime, anywhere. And you just heard we don't advertise. We don't have a website. Shoot, we don't have business cards. What we believe in is building on relationships. To us, relationships are everything. In 2019, I stood on the stage and won this event. Back then, I saw like $1.5 million in sales with a team of only 5 employees. Last year, we had $9 million in sales with a team of 20 employees. Thank you. In 2024, we plan to bust $11 million. That was all made possible because that night when I won this event, I got a loan from Entree Capital for $100,000. And with that loan, I bought 2 service trucks. I paid that loan off early, and then I got 2 more service trucks. RPM's been pretty blessed. My family, my kids are right over here. 5 of my kids are here. 2 of my daughters at home. My wife, we've all been pretty blessed by this opportunity. 7 kids, yes sir. yeah, the future boss is over there too. So, right. But you heard me say earlier that relationships are what matter most. And that was the hardest thing that I had to learn while I was in PEP. You know, I learned a lot about business, but what I really learned was how to change my character. That's what relationships are built on. See, I was raised in the streets of San Antonio around a lot of drugs and violence. And I learned at a young age, you know, I can't trust anybody. And then I made a lot of bad decisions. I got caught up in it. I did what I said I'd never do. I started selling drugs. I started becoming the man I said I'd never become. I made a lot of bad decisions and I wound up back in prison. And you know, you can't trust anybody there either. But then I got into PEP and I met a lot of volunteers who really cared about me and they wanted to help me. So the first thing I had to do was let my guard down, and then so I could let volunteers in. Once I learned that lesson, and trust me, it was hard for me to learn how to trust people again. It made all the difference. It made a difference in my life, in my family, and in my business. Entree Capital has filled a gap that others wouldn't. I applied for a lot of loans and got shot down every time. The national bank where I have my checking relationship or my checking account at, they're happy to have a depository relationship, but they're not so eager or happy to be in a full banking relationship with me. I mean, they see $9 million flow through my account and they still deny me a loan for $100,000? I don't get it, you know? But every time I try to move forward, it seemed like the door was slammed in my face, keeping me out. And that's one thing that I really appreciate about Entree Capital, is that they understand me. They've kicked that door wide open and allowed me to walk through and compete fairly with others in my market by helping me get loans. It's more than just the services, you know, they do a lot for them. You might know this old saying that if, how do you say it? That nobody really cares about what you know until they know how much you care. Well, that's what PEP does for me. I know they really care. And I know they want what's best for me. PEP and Entree Capital help me in many ways. PEP helps me with my bookkeeping and my taxes. And Entree Capital helps me by providing me with loans to grow my business. A lot more than just that service. It's really nice having a group of guys that I trust to ask for advice. There's not a lot about a $9 million business that you can earn by running the streets of San Antonio. So I call these guys all the time at all hours of the day. They always answer and give me great advice. It doesn't mean that I always take their advice, but it's not. It's sure nice having people that you trust that you bounce ideas off of. It's meant all the difference in my life. So I do want to say that there's another saying that I like. It's let me see if I can get this right. I'll kind of get some twisted. Where did I put it? So there's another saying. It goes: if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. That's what Entree and PEP have done for me. They taught me to go together with the people that I trust. The loans do help, but it's the relationships that matter most. In closing, I want to say that it's not every day that you get to be in the same room as a lot of the people that you love and trust. So I want to take advantage of this opportunity to say thank you. Thank you for always believing in me. Thank you for always caring. You know, I want to say thank you to my wife, mom and dad. First of all, my mom and dad are at home. I wanted me to tell you thank you for helping me become the man I am today. So I really, my mom and dad, thank you. doing all the paperwork and stuff and taking all the phone calls. I want to thank PEP and Entree Capital. I want to thank all of the volunteers, because without you, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. You know, RPM Diesel is a business, but it's more than that. It's an opportunity for me to leave my family not just memories, but a legacy. I know you may not know this right now, but every time you go into prison, you do touch and you do help. You've touched me, you've changed my life, but more importantly, you've also broken many generational cycles in my family. The proof is here. So thank you for always being there for me. Thank you for always caring about me, and thank you for being a part of my life.
I can't add to that. Don't want to. You heard the story about Entree Capital. We got 2 more videos, and then we're going to get to our end game. And so Roger Manning, you know, partnered with Steve Hausman to form Entree and have carried it on their back for 5 years. Roger's made a video to tell you about the journey with Entree Capital. You heard what it means to Ruben. But Roger, we appreciate what was in your heart. I got to watch it a little bit early. We're going to play that, and then we're going to go ahead and play one other video. It illustrates this whole idea of going wider that I talked about, of an amazing entrepreneur named Rod Hearn, who didn't go through PEP, but got grafted into our family. And you're going to hear a story from him. And if it doesn't move your heart, you need a cup of coffee, okay? And so we're going to play those 2 videos, and I think we'll nail down this whole idea. We're going from deeper to wider, and then we'll talk about where we go next. So guys, go ahead and play those videos. I'll be back.
Roger Manning, Managing Director of Entree Capital, LLC. I got this engraved invitation in the mail. It was personalized. An engraved invitation to go take 2 days off and go to the Hamilton unit in College Station to be involved in this thing called a business plan competition. And I thought this is the craziest invitation I've ever seen. I just set it aside, and I just couldn't throw it away. I kept picking it up and looking at it, and after a few days, I just felt convicted. I just felt the conviction that this was a people group that I had never thought about. Took 2 days off, went to the Hamilton unit, and it was transformational to see these individuals, the talent that was there, the spirit that was there, and the conditions, quite frankly, that were so challenging to live in. It just really gave me a heart for the mission. I've been on the governing board of PEP. I spent 10 years on the governing board, as did my partner, Stephen Hausman. And one of the things we saw firsthand volunteering with PEP was that these entrepreneurs that were really good still had a very, very strict access to capital. They had almost really no access to mainstream bank capital to start and fuel their businesses. Well, Clarence was in the leather care business, and of course that was basically a shoe shine stand in downtown Fort Worth where I worked, and I met him and began to become a regular customer of his. Clarence was a great entrepreneur, but not all his ideas were great. He had a lot of ideas. So mostly with Clarence, what we would do is just unpack his ideas and work through them. And I loaned him, I don't know, it was around $10,000 to build 3 shine stands to place in downtown Dallas and Fort Worth. And the loans were repaid as agreed, and it really helped him leverage his skills across a broader market, and it eventually enabled him to hire additional folks to work those other stands and basically turn what was a good sole proprietorship into a good small business. And Stephen and I both independently had loaned money occasionally to some of these entrepreneurs, but that really wasn't, they were successful loans, but they weren't sustainable and not scalable. So Stephen had the idea of forming a CDFI, Community Development Financial Institution, to meet this need, provide structure and organization as a conduit to get capital to these entrepreneurs that were returned citizens. Now, Entre is a nonprofit, but it's not a charity. It's a commercial finance company, and we loan money exclusively to the formerly incarcerated entrepreneurs. Well, as I say, necessity is the mother of invention, and when the very first PEP Shark Tank event occurred back in 2019, these 3 loans were awarded. Well, there wasn't an infrastructure to service these loans. There was no loan servicing system at PEP. So that was part of the impetus to really get serious about forming a CDFI and form Entre Capital, because somebody needed to service these 3 loans. And one of those loans was to Don Dawson, the Salt City Rentals trailer park. And Don had this idea to form a trailer park with used trailers, used FEMA trailers, to provide low-income housing out in Van Zandt County, outside of Grand Saline, where he had some property. He won an award at the Shark Tank, so we began to work with him. Don and I started to work together, and there have been a lot of ups and downs. One of the things that returning citizens have above a lot of budding entrepreneurs is they have a lot of resilience. I mean, they know how to get up after being knocked down, and that resilience really, really helps for a new entrepreneur. That business got hit in the face a lot, but Don got up every time, and we worked through the issues, we worked through the challenges, and now that trailer park is cash flow positive, and there are 9 trailers there, and it's going great. And I think having third parties, volunteers, speak into the lives of these graduates, just as they do when they are in the program, in the units, is equally important. Entre borrowers need an advocate, and returning citizens need advocacy in their lives. I think a lot of returned citizens who are entrepreneurs, they have a lot of ideas. They develop a lot of ideas. They have a lot of time to develop ideas, but they don't have the ability and the experience to distill those ideas into a solid business plan. So I think that's a place where volunteers help, but also Entre has helped work with the business plans to get the companies bankable. The business experience has been helpful, but it's really just the experience of life that you can pour into these men who need to hear about that experience, who need some help, who need encouragement. That's really been a very gratifying experience, and anybody can do it. And there's, as I mentioned, there's so many ways, so many places you can volunteer in PEP, so many different things you can do. There's something here for everybody.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Roger Kern, and I'm the proud founder of Iron Rod Steel Co., a Houston-based steel company serving metal fabricators throughout Greater Houston. I was blessed to win the 2022 pitch event, just like the one you've all been a part of tonight. That night, I shared how the vision for my company started in my mind when I was in prison. I knew I wanted to build something great, but I also knew that building something great requires the help of great people. But consider this. I'm an ex-offender. I haven't been out of prison long. And although I have a passion for entrepreneurship, I really don't have vast experience in running a business. So where does someone like me find this kind of great help? The answer seems obvious, PEP, right? Well, right. But did you know that there's a segment of the prison population that because of the length of our sentence, we're not given access to PEP and all of its resources? That's right. But because of the inclusive nature of this program, when Howard Rambin, a volunteer member of the PEP community, just like you all, introduced me to the staff, I was grafted into the family and given all the benefits of an original member. Fast forward a year. Mike Coffey, who's on the board of PEP, reached out to me while I was still working out of a small shed in my backyard. Mike not only offered to coach me in growing Iron Rod Steel Co., but he also introduced me to Entre Capital, which led to us receiving funding for a forklift we badly needed. Within 2 years of colliding with my mentor and working together to restructure my business model, we'd grown Iron Rod Steel Co. from $100,000 to over $2 million in annual revenue. The transformation I went through is the essence of PEP's Collider process. It's about initiating collisions between returned citizens and volunteers to help improve the lives of both. I was brought in when they were just piloting the program. And not only have I witnessed how they've evolved and expanded over the past couple of years, but I've also benefited firsthand from the enhanced features of the Collider program. For example, imagine how I felt after spending months working out the details of a business loan with a huge corporate bank, only to get denied in underwriting because of my felony. I felt like my chances at any real funding were nil, even though I consistently kept $300,000 to $400,000 in raw steel inventory. That's when Tim and Courtney from PEP's accounting team stepped in to help me craft a plan and proposal to a very notable local business bank, eventually working out a $500,000 credit term at Prime Plus One. Now, if you're like me, you don't know if Prime Plus One is a good thing or a bad thing. So I may not be a finance whiz, but I do know when to speak less and let the experts that represent me communicate with their counterparts on the other side of the table in a language they both understand. In the same year, at the scariest time of the year, not Halloween, but tax time, I was told by my CPA that I owed almost $125,000 in taxes. Instead of panicking, I reached out to Tim and Courtney again, who realized some errors were made and connected me with a trustworthy CPA who ultimately knocked $90,000 off of that tax bill. I can't even imagine what would have happened if I had to face that kind of situation alone. This, in a nutshell, is what PEP's Collider program is all about. It doesn't just help build stronger businesses. It helps build stronger, more confident people by filling in gaps and connecting those who want to help change lives with those who need help changing their life. So thank you, PEP, and thank you all for believing in the power of second chances.
God said the power. That was powerful. Let's bring it home. You know, we talk about going deeper and more Geralds and Russells and Nicks and volunteers going inside. PEP serves two clients, the men inside and the volunteers that serve them. There is a kingdom exchange. We go wider with Entre Capital, and we go on this journey that one day they'll write books about, I believe, of how this crazy idea of Entre Capital came to life and birthed an $11 million business. But we're going to go wider, and then I'm going to add one more word: deeper, wider, farther. Because there are states knocking on PEP's door every day. And they're saying the fruit of the work, the reduced recidivism, but even more, the evidence of human flourishing. In a culture that's torn apart, you guys can talk about the gospel of the kingdom, but we believe in the results. Please, go farther. Open in our state. So with our Chairman Pat Gocher's direction and the support of our board, 2 years ago, we began to work on a plan. And it was as we come up on our 20th anniversary, what does it look like to gather ourselves, to present it in prayer and say, how do we go deeper, farther, or deeper, wider, and farther? And a plan came out of that is 27 pages of intensely wonderful execution strategy of how to do all those things. And some of you may know, which is the blessing that launches us into the next chapter, is that was presented to the Mackenzie Bezos Foundation that recently granted PEP $2 million to ignite that next chapter, and we learned that last month. So we are grateful. We are grateful. Last July, similarly, our board took an even weightier decision as we, in biblical language, we lift our eyes. And we look at that plan, and we see provision. And we had a sense, for many of you have read a book. There's a lot of business people in this room. Written by an author named Jim Collins called Good to Great. And Good to Great describes a level 5 leader that is passionate about mission, but has a God-given humility. And we set out on a course to say, who is that level 5 leader for this next chapter of PEP? We're now 10 months later. 10 disciplined, prayer-saturated, hard-working months of 16 candidates presenting themselves to step into this role at PEP. That was narrowed to 5. The 5 spent a lot of time inside a prison with our men and our volunteers, because this is our ministry. If you don't like this, you ain't qualified. That was narrowed to 2. One of our measuring sticks was this plan to go deeper, to go wider, to go further. But it was more than that. It was the wisdom of this board that I so appreciate. That this person needs to have a calling. And they even need to have an anointing. There's something in their life, and we all know it. There's not many 18-year-olds sitting in the audience as I look around. We all know what this word, sometimes we avoid big words, but let's kind of wrestle with this. Anointing. You've been through hard stuff. And because of that, your heart is in a position to release transformation in others. We were looking for that. We were looking for a second thing, which was an ability to steward our culture, which is not a small thing. Maybe you lead businesses. The culture is the lifeblood of what you do. Our culture is actually simple at heart. We believe with unshakable confidence that the gospel of the kingdom releases human flourishing. And we can generously share the benefits of that with everyone. And people love the results. And the third thing is to have a track record, to be able to grow and scale and build a team and do it wisely and winsomely. And you know what? By the time we finished with the board and put this together, that was not a small assignment, was it? It's a good move. Now we're on the 5, and this time on the 5-yard line. I know the hour grows late, but this is, in some ways, this is what we came for. Everything until now has been absolutely magnificent. But I think what you're about to hear is going to pull it all together. Because last Friday, our board selected our next CEO for PEP. His name is Chip Scour, and he's sitting with his wife Cheryl right here. And I want to tell you about his amazing life, whose journey has brought him to this point, and then invite him to the stage. But here's what I will say about the things that maybe we would traditionally consider that I think are really amazing. Chip graduated from Vanderbilt, and he went to Yale and got a medical degree and a PhD. And then he was in the residency program at Harvard and graduated from that program and became a surgeon. And 2 years into that, entered the financial realm and became a hedge fund manager of a multi-billion-dollar fund in New York in healthcare and medical technologies. And if that's not the American dream, I don't know what is. But I think what you'll hear out of Chip's heart is into that place, the loving Almighty God interrupted his life, turned him, and say, and he pleaded guilty to an insider trading charge and an obstruction of justice charge, and went to prison 4 years. And what I like to say, Chip, in all the times that we've talked and all the times we've prayed together, where the fire of God has landed on us, you were baptized, your heart was baptized in prison. And since then, he's come out, and prison ministry has been an important part of his life. He has served for 4 years now on the board of Prison Fellowship. He is deeply knowledgeable about this realm of prison ministry and where PEP fits, and the value of this community that has been built here, that is evident in this room. And so his enthusiasm about this being a calling and stewarding our culture and growing the business is nothing less than very special. And so he's going to share, okay? And that's how we're going to do that. And don't leave before we have the winner of the competition, okay? But he's going to do that, and he's going to talk about our growth. He's going to talk about how you can join him on the mission and help. So I want you to listen for that. And I want to invite my friend, Chip Skowron, to the podium. Our new CEO.
Good evening. I stand between you and home. So as I'm reminded in 1 Corinthians, Paul writes, the kingdom of heaven is not about talk, it's about power. And we've seen evidence of power tonight, haven't we? It's been amazing. Before I say anything about myself, there are a few people that I want to recognize. It has been one of the great joys of my life to get to know the board of directors that I'm going to be reporting to. Would I ask, please ask the board of PEP to stand and be recognized. You guys are amazing gals, amazing people. With the board, please stand up. Mac. There's also an extraordinary group of people that I have never encountered in my journey of prison ministry or in life that I found when I walked into the Collider, and that is the staff of PEP. Could I ask the staff to stand up, please? This has been an extraordinary event. You guys are amazing. Everyone staff, thank you. Among those staff members are two very, very special individuals who, quite frankly, none of this would be possible without. And those names are Tim Hamilton and Fee Tran. And I can't tell you how excited I am to come and to partner with you men on this journey. I can tell you this place owes you a great debt. and I look forward to spending a great deal of my life here with you. Last but not least, Cheryl, my wife. Thank you for being here. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for believing in me. I hope you all get a chance to meet the reason that I'm able to be here today. Cheryl Scott. So 5 years ago, we heard about Reuben and that event, you know, and as I was getting on an airplane to fly down here 5 years ago to give the keynote address in this room at this event, I remember praying and I said, Lord, I have no idea why you're bringing me to Texas, but here I am. Whatever you want, I'm in. And that night, 5 years ago, was amazing. I saw a prison ministry like none that I had ever even imagined could exist. I was having my own struggles with the banking system. I was having my own struggles with employment and mentoring and fellowship. I was having my own struggles, and I got here and I saw something that just looked and smelled so different. 5 years have gone by, and I have continued to learn so much about prison ministry in those intervening 5 years, and in those 5 years, Prison Entrepreneurship Program has grown and matured in extraordinary ways. I got a call this morning from my dear friend and brother, who's the CEO of our solar company based in Utah. And he said that last night he woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning and he prayed a prayer. And the prayer was, Dear God, thank you for not allowing me to complete my plan for my life. And I can tell you, when he said that this morning, I said, you know what, Hasem, I'm going to share that tonight because that's a powerful prayer, and I'm going to start praying that prayer of thanks. Because I can tell you this, my plan for my life, and you heard some of it, was leading me to death or worse. I was going to burn my marriage down. I was going to abandon my children. I was going to lose everything. But God, He rescued me from my plan. And in 2010, when that news broke that I was under criminal investigation and my whole world disintegrated, a group of men came around me. And that group's called the New Canaan Society. And it's a group of men who are focused on being friends with Jesus and friends with one another. And one of those men is here tonight, and that man's Hal Rosser. And he's still showing up for me. But the New Canaan Society brought me in and adopted me and loved me and poured into me. And that was the group that first shared with me the gospel at a time. And I surrendered my entire life to Jesus in April of 2011. And I went into prison in January of 2012. 9 months later, a babe, clutching my Bible with a cross on, and greeted by a man who introduced himself. When I walked to the door, he said, "Hi, my name's Chip." And I said, "Well, my name's Chip 2. He said, "Remember that. You're Chip 2, I'm Chip 1. And then he looked at my Bible and he said, "Just remember that all things work together for the good." And I said, "For those who love God and are called according to His purpose." And he said, "My brother, welcome." That's how I was greeted when I walked into prison. And God's favor stayed with me that entire 4 years. It was an amazing journey of faith, of learning that God could be trusted, that He would fight for me, and He taught me so much. And in that journey, God did something miraculous. He brought a fellowship of men together, and we had a full-blown revival in that prison. A third of the prison gave their lives to the Lord. It was amazing. And along with that came persecution. So I'm describing a small window into my time in prison because you might imagine then when I get ready to come home after 4 years, I'm eager, I'm excited, I'm looking forward to being with my family. I had no idea that that was going to be the hardest part of the journey. PEP excels in that part of the journey. The community that is kindled and grown and nurtured in prison is also cared for and nurtured as it transitions out in 8 transition homes. And there's a need for more. In part of my journey with PEP over the last 9 months, I had the opportunity to spend time in those transition houses. And let me tell you, we would have been there till midnight, and those men had to get up early in the morning and go to work. But I didn't want to leave. And I'm happy to tell you, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. As I was wondering how we were going to accommodate me as our youngest of 4 is about to have her senior year in high school, how was I going to come down here and stay in a hotel, get an apartment? None of that felt right. And I was praying about it, and the Lord said, you're going to live in a transition house. So I'm happy to say that when I report to the office in Houston next week, after my son graduates from college, I'm going to be staying the night in the Integrity House every night that I'm here. I get to be a part of this community in a way that, quite frankly, makes my heart swell. I'm so excited. PEP's existence is the proof that our society is broken in many ways. We've heard stories about how, thanks to PEP, bringing hope, there was otherwise no hope. We've heard stories about Entree Capital, this extraordinary entity that has been created to provide funding for businesses that otherwise would not have access to capital. We've heard Representative Sherman talk about challenges and brokenness within our criminal justice system. And I'm excited to say that PEP, although the existence of it is the evidence of the problem, PEP is also a light. It is a city on a hill. This community that has been fostered and cared for and created and is going to grow is going to be attractive. As I sat and listened to these extraordinary stories tonight of businesses being created and thriving, I understand, and I know you do too, that that is the gospel at work. It's power. And when people hear this kind of story, it's attractive, and they want to be a part of it. And I can tell you, so, honey, we have our 2 sons are both at the Kelley School of Business in Indiana. And what I'm thinking is, for the small price of 2 very small felonies, we could get them into the PEP program. I mean, it's a crazy idea, but I can tell you this, and I mean this with all sincerity. The pool of entrepreneurs I have been with and lived with and PEP works with in prison is a richer, deeper pool of entrepreneurs than our business schools often will find. And I believe that our young children, our young adults, these new leaders who are coming out of our schools would be thrilled to be a part of this program. Whether that be from a business perspective or a therapeutic perspective, our partnerships are going to grow with both business schools and other entities to bring them into contact with this community. You've heard a little bit about the 27-page plan. I can tell you that as we were going through it, one of the things that jumped out at us was a center, a PEP center, based here in Dallas, to increase the number of beds, to increase the number of collisions, to increase the opportunities for our community to own and operate businesses on the premises. And as I was sitting there listening to this idea, I pulled up on my computer the exact same idea that was crafted by us in Connecticut in the same year. Hearts were aligned. PEP is the best kept secret in prison ministry. And I can tell you it's time. And I am thrilled to be invited to be a part of this journey. There was no question, as I was praying about this opportunity and others that Cheryl and I were considering, and seemed like the Lord was about to make a pivot shift in our lives. I was leaving prison one day, and the things that had happened inside, I'll just give you one glimpse. As we were sitting around and we were sharing with the brothers, the CO behind me stood up, extended a hand, and began to prophesy over one of the inmates. I've never experienced anything like that before. And as I left, I said, Lord, if this is what you have for me, if this is on the table, if this kind of life you're going to make available to me, I'm in. I'm all in for the rest of my time here. So brothers, sisters, friends, I'm in for the rest of my time here. Thank you.
Super easy to follow that. Wow, wow. Thank you for those words. But we do have some money that we need to give away for the entrepreneurs, right? Remember the entrepreneurship part of the program. And so, if you will be so kind, Chip, to come back up on stage, because it is your first duty as CEO to announce the winner. So stand right there. And Courtney, do you have it? Okay, now, can you see it? Or is it hidden? Bring it out here. The suspense is killing us. You ready? I'm ready. Do the thing, Courtney. Let's see. Wait a minute. Let's see if we can get this. Can we fire it up? Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the winner of the 2024 B2B contest is Lighthouse Automotive.
We're going to have a picture call with the Sharks up here on stage. Nick, congratulations to you, my friend. Congratulations! If you can't get the Sharks back up here on stage, we might have a picture call for this evening's remembrance.
Give me this because I'm supposed to say something. I just want to say that really briefly, you know, as before I gave my pitch, I was just overwhelmed with emotion about what God has done in my life. You see, the reason I am who I am is because I never got over getting saved. And this man's predecessor, which is the best man at my wedding, Brian Kelly, who stood in the gap, and a phenomenal man and leader who shepherded this program and cared for it, man. And those of you that know him knew that he did it well, man. They're a great personal friend of mine, but I just want to say this. You found the right guy. You found the right guy. And I'm inspired, and I look so forward to what this journey is going to hold for the two of us, and as we work together and partner together to help continue transforming lives. Thank you so much, man. I am so grateful.
Let's get in there and get some pictures, yeah.
I did them. What do I do? silly, so you can steal a picture.
All right, here we go. I think that leaves it to me for the last word.
Do I take this with me?
Yes, it is. Go cash it.
Hey, somebody out there is gonna make. I know we're just
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing in this world happens without the involvement of other people. We are put on this earth to take a journey where we connect fellow travelers.